Does she fit the M.O.? Basically, yeah. She fits right into the puzzle. Married with one son, good-looking woman, high profile in the city. She was a 10 o'clock anchor for a local affiliate. Also the honorary chair of the Cedars-Sinai Pediatric Burn Unit Capital Campaign. 9-year-old son. Another perfect mom. With a boyfriend on the side. Well, I guess nobody's perfect. Is that what Mary's trying to tell us? Maybe, I said. The press was going to eat up this one, as if they weren't already overfed. It made me feel even sorrier for Susan Cartulis's husband and her young son. Her murder and infidelity would be trotted out for the public in great detail. Do you think that has anything to do with it? Paige asked. Perfect mothers who aren't so perfect after all? Hypocrisy on the home front? Something as simple as that? If that's Mary Smith's point, I said, she's being pretty murky about it, especially for someone who's so deliberate in getting her message out there in her emails. Plus, as far as we know, most of the murdered women actually live up to their reputations. As far as we know, said Paige. Stay tuned on that one, yeah? All right, why don't you do a little digging around about the others? See if you can find any dirty little secrets we missed. Try Arnold Greiner. I'll bet he has an inside line or two. That's his job, right? The forensics of gossip, huh? Paige said, and laughed. I'll see what I can do. See if I can get Greiner to talk about anything besides himself. Who was the other victim? Mariah Alexander. Yeah, that really sucks. She was a maid at the hotel, college kid. We think Mary got in the room with her passkey. One other thing, I said. If anyone asks, you haven't heard from me and you don't know where I am. Paige paused on the line. I'm not going to lie if someone asks me, but I won't volunteer anything. Anyway, I'm on my way out of the office. Good enough. By the way, you're doing a terrific job. For a surfer boy, huh? Exactly, dude. Chapter 62. I followed Carl Page's directions toward the Ramada Plaza in West Hollywood and deliberately left my phone in the car when I got there. I didn't want to be reached by anybody at the Bureau right now, not even Director Burns's office. The stark Art Deco lobby was quiet and depressing. Dreary, dried-up palms loomed over rows of boxy, chocolate-brown couches, all of them empty. 2 elderly women at the front desk were the only customers in sight. Whoever was in charge here, Jean Galetta, I hoped, had gotten a good cap on the scene. The only indication that a major investigation was underway 1 story up was the 2 officers stationed at the elevator. I took the stairs to the murder scene 2 at a time. The second-floor hallway was thick with LAPD personnel. Several of them wore gloves, white booties, and crime scene unit polo shirts. The faces were all stressed and drawn. A uniformed officer gave me the once-over. "Who are you?" he asked. His tag said Sandhausen. I flashed him my creds without comment and kept moving past him. "Hey!" he called out. "Hey yourself," I called back and kept going. When I got to room 223, the door was wide open. A row of cartoonish stickers, Mary Smith's calling card, was affixed to the outside. 2 glittery winged fairies and another unicorn, which was stuck right over the peephole. 2 stickers were marked with an A, the other with a B. A maid's cart stood parked off to the side. "Is Jean Galetta around?" I asked another young officer as she pushed past me into the hall. The sheer number of people coming and going here was disconcerting. The female officer gave me a petulant look. "I think she's downstairs in the office. I don't know." "Find out," I said, suddenly losing my patience. "Let her know Alex Cross is looking for her. I'll be in here." I steeled myself before I stepped inside the hotel room. There's a necessary detachment at any murder scene, and I can feel it like a second skin that I put on. But there's a necessary balance, too. I never wanted to forget that this was about human beings, not just bodies, not just Vicks. If I ever got immune to that, I'd know it was time to look for another career. Maybe it was time anyway. What I found was a scene just as predictably brutal as I had come to expect from Mary Smith. Plus a couple of nasty surprises that I wasn't prepared for. Chapter 63. The bathroom was a horror. Mariah Alexander, the 19-year-old hotel maid, lay collapsed backward in the tub, her head at a nearly impossible angle to her torso. Her throat was torn open where a bullet had erased any possibility of a scream. Her long, curly black hair was streaked with her blood. It looked as though the girl's carotid artery had been nicked, which would explain the blood spurts that extended all the way up the wall. A heavy set of keys lay on the tile floor near the dead girl's dangling feet. My first guess was that Mary Smith had pulled a gun on the young woman, forced her to unlock the hotel room door, then backed her up into the bathroom and shot her, all in quick succession. Susan Cartulis and Mr. Conver would likely have been in the bedroom at that point, just a short hallway away. Someone, probably Conver, had come to see what was going on. If the bloodstains on the carpet were any indication, Mary Smith had intercepted Conver halfway between the bedroom and bathroom. His body, however, was now arranged on the bed next to Susan Cartulis. The lovers lay face up, side by side, on top of the covers. Both of them were nude, another first for Mary Smith, although it was likely they were undressed when she got there. Pillowcases were draped across the two victims' hips and over Ms. Cartulis's chest, in an odd suggestion of modesty. Man, this was a wacky and confusing killer. The inconsistencies boggled the mind. Mine, anyway. It got even stranger. The king-size bed was perfectly made. It was possible that Cartulis and Conver hadn't used the bed while having sex, but soft drinks and a condom wrapper on the nightstand indicated otherwise. Did Mary Smith actually make the bed after she murdered 3 people? If so, she was good at it. Nana had long ago made sure I knew the difference between a real hospital corner and a lazy one. Mary Smith knew the difference as well. The tidily arranged covers were soaked with blood, particularly around Ms. Cartulis. Both victims had sustained gunshot wounds to the head, but Cartulis's face had also been brutalized with a blade, in Mary Smith's usual manner, and as promised in the email. I could just about make out Conver's last, strained expression of terror, but Cartulis's face had so many cuts it looked like a single open wound. It reminded me of the murders at Antonia Schiffman's house, neat and sloppy at the same time. One killer, 2 completely different impulses. What the hell had she been thinking? What did she want out of this? The most disturbing new wrinkle came a few minutes later. A yellow leather coach wallet with Susan Cartulis's driver's license and credit cards lay open on a chair near the bed. As I looked through the wallet, I saw that it was neatly filled with one thing and another, but that there were several empty plastic sleeves. The empty spaces sent tension up and down my spine. "God damn it," I said out loud. "Photographs." One of the crime scene unit staff turned to me. "What's up? You find something?" "Do we know where Susan Cartulis's husband is?" I asked. "He's supposed to be on a plane, coming home from Florida. Why?" "I need to know if this woman carried family photos in her wallet." My question was a formality. I was almost certain I knew the answer. This would be the second time in as many incidents that Mary Smith had been interested in family photos. She'd gone from leaving the children entirely alone to either destroying or stealing their photographs. Meanwhile, her methodology was increasingly erratic, and her emails seemed more confident than ever. How slippery a slope was this going to be from here on? And where was it taking me? I didn't think I could live with myself if Mary Smith started turning on kids before we caught up to her. But that's what I was afraid might happen next. Chapter 64. Can I see you for a minute, Dr. Cross? We need to talk. I looked up to see Detective Jean Galletta standing in the door. Her expression was strained. I thought that she looked older than the last time we met, and thinner, as if she'd lost 10 pounds she hadn't needed to shed. We went out into the hall. What's going on? Don't tell me something else has happened. I don't want to go wide with this yet, she said in a low, tired voice. But there's a woman who saw a blue Suburban leaving the hotel parking lot in a big hurry. Happened around 2 o'clock. She didn't notice much else. I wonder if you could interview her, and then we could compare notes, before I do anything with this. It was a good move on her part. I'm pretty sure she was thinking the same thing I was. The D.C. sniper case in 2002 had included a massive public search for what turned out to be the wrong vehicle, a white van with black lettering. It was an investigative and public relations nightmare, exactly the kind of mistake LAPD wouldn't want to make now. And could you do it right now? That would be helpful. I'd appreciate it, she added. If I'm going to run with this, I don't want to wait. I hated to leave the crime scene. There was a lot of work to be done. If Jean weren't wearing her stress so plainly, maybe I would have said no. Give me 5 minutes to finish up here, I told her. I'll be right down. Meanwhile, I asked Jean to do me a favor and follow up with Giovanni Cartulis about the missing photos in his wife's wallet. There was frustratingly little we could do with the information from him, but it was important to know if Mary Smith had stolen family pictures. Also, Giovanni Cartulis needed to be eliminated as a suspect, as all the previous husbands had been. Jean and her people had been handling this, but I was satisfied with the reports. The LAPD was doing a good job. What? Jean asked, standing very still in the hallway and staring at me. What are you thinking? Tell me, I can handle it. I think. Take a deep breath. Don't give in to this crap. You're running the case as well as anyone possibly could, but you look like hell right now. She knitted her eyebrows. Thanks. You look good, just not as good as usual. You're pale, Jean. It's the stress. Nobody understands that until they get hit with it. Jean finally smiled. I look like a fucking raccoon. Big dark smears around my eyes. Sorry. It's okay. I've got to run. I thought about her earlier dinner invitation and my clumsy decline. If we had stood there a few seconds longer, maybe I would have reciprocated the invitation for later, but Jean, and the moment, were already gone. And I had an interview to do. A blue Suburban, right? Chapter 65. It wasn't the foot-long serpentine tattoos up and down both of Bettina Rogers' arms, or the half-dozen piercings on her face that made me doubt what she had just told me. Actually, Bettina was as good a witness as you get. It was more the fact that eyewitness accounts are notoriously sketchy and unreliable. FBI research has shown them to hover around 50% accuracy, even just a few minutes after an incident, and this was at least 2 hours later. That said, Bettina's confidence in what she had seen was unwavering. I was in the parking lot starting my car, she told me for the 3rd time, and the Suburban tore out behind me over that way, toward Santa Monica Boulevard. I turned around to look because it was going so fast. I know for sure it was dark blue, and I know it was a Suburban because my mom used to have one. I've ridden in it 1,000,000 times. I remember thinking it was kind of funny because it was like my mom was driving crazy like that. She paused. The Suburban took a sharp left out of the parking lot. That's all I know. Can I fucking go now? That was about as much as Jean Galletta had gotten out of her, But I pressed on with a few more questions.